Welcome to a new test and teardown video. Well, I normally don't do consumer products, but I really wouldn't call this a consumer product anymore, really, because now it's a vintage collector items, super special and super rare kind of computer gear. This Apple IIc is from 1984, and it is in a very, very special, beautiful state. Look at the color and all that kind of stuff. I found it inside some test equipment. It was built into this test equipment. There's a thing about these: when you power them up, they kind of auto boot from the disk drive, and then they start the program, and then you don't need to do anything at all, really, to have it do whatever the program is doing. So that is what it was doing. It was inside some special test program for a test station, and it has never seen daylight or UV light or anything like that. So it is very, very wide, and the keyboard is super nice. Even this sticker here on the spacebar that says English. I mean, you don't even have 30 fingers on that one. So what is the chance of that? Nobody removed it. That is so cool to see. I also got the power supply for it. And since this was built into some test equipment, this little rubber thing here was cut away. And it is 15 volts, 1.2 amps, so that is 18 watts. That is all there is to it. This power supply is dated 85, so this unit must be, of course, from 85. There's a nice Apple logo here, and there's a super beautiful Apple logo on the unit itself. Mains cable was cut and attached to a mains filter, so I'll have to fix that and see if something comes alive here. There is one thing that worries me a little bit, and let me show you. I just flipped it around and show you the back. And by the way, the unit is packed with features like modems and all sorts of cool things. Printer interface, yes, I totally love it. It's fully featured, but this is what I don't like. I don't know if you can see this on the video, but there's a big bump sticking out here. Something is not right. Look at that. I don't know. Is it? I will see if I can make this more visible. Okay, I think I can show it from this angle. So if I take a piece of paper and hold it like this, now you can see there's a big bump about here, right? Because it's supposed to be flat like that, right? But that is not the case when you come to this area. So something is not right. I hope it's because the unit wasn't assembled correctly. But I really need to open it before I power it up, just for safety. I don't really don't want to cause any damage adding power to this one. Here's the bottom sticker, so you can see how beautiful it is. It says 15 volts, and all that is perfectly fine. Yeah, we need to open it. So that was a little bit difficult to get all this disassembled. The trick that I did was I poked away the rear plastic first and the handle, and then I was able to get it to loosen that grip. There's a plastic thingy here that locks into that one, and it's just super locked. There's no way to open it from that way because it's kind of press fit because of the keyboard. And by the way, when I'm looking inside my unit here, it's just looking like a brand new computer. Look at the state this is in. Brand new. Wow, amazing. There isn't any screws left here, so you can actually just lift this up and poke it out, right? And then release this connector like that, and then we are in. I want to figure out what is the problem behind the drive here, so I need to lift this out as well, and this should also be loose, right? And what you have to do is just carefully do like that, right? And that one is okay too. Yes, good. That feels fantastic, and that is what I wanted to see. It's good to inspect everything for dirt or broken capacitors or loose labels here and all that kind of stuff. And that is the EEPROM, and that is the main operating system, I think, right? And that will be the CPU. And this one is the 83NF. That is completely normal. All that is fine. So why are we having this funny bump at the bottom? And that is, by the way, the power supply. It's looking super beautiful. I really want to look inside that one anyway, while we are inside here. Correction. This annoying bump that I got is underneath the power supply. So now I'm starting to get worried. Is this because heat? Maybe this power supply was way too hot. So that is something to look at. Oh, it's Aztec. Huh, cool. And the two EMC connections to the disk drive, those are loose electrical metal contacts, and they need to be right here and right here, so those are important. So now I'm completely inside this unit. I took out everything, including the EMC shield. It's right there. Plastic isolation is right there. So now I can have a look at this little bendy plastic right here, and isn't really a lot to say about it, but it's just really bendy and annoying. So I'm going to try and see if I can fix that somehow. And I was also looking at the other little details here in the case. Look at that little piece of metal that is pressed and melted into the piece here, right? So if you take the handle, see this little piece down there, right? So here is how it works, and then when it goes all the way here, it goes click. So eventually this piece of metal is going to eat away this little piece here. So yes, it was actually used, this handle, but I don't know if you look at it here, if you can see how nice and clean it is. Quite amazing when this is about 40 years old. So here's the Aztec power supply. A very beautiful unit. It's always good to inspect if there's any leak around the capacitors here and stuff like that. Both of the input and the output, and I can't see any kinds of leaks anywhere, and it is a super beautiful design. It's not super compact or anything. They didn't really care to make it crazy compact. Just look at all this air it contains. That is not how it is today. You don't see any air. So yeah, that is very, very nice. Also from 84. I found the problem about this mechanical thing. So when you screw the power supply of this model into this casing here, see what's gonna happen? There's a big distance now that I fixed the bottom a little bit, and there is a piece of plastic about here, so when you that touches the bottom, so when you screw this screw in, you're gonna bend down the bottom. That is just so wrong. So of course this power supply, there was supposed to be a little plastic spacer under here and like this to lift it up a little bit. Otherwise this is gonna happen. So of course I need to fix that as well. And here you can see it. That is the two plastic spacers that touches the power supply, bottom side of the power supply. You can even see this piece of metal here is bent due to the force that it pushes down right here, and this creates a bend in the bottom. So it's either bad, wrong design, or bad or wrong reassembly. Somebody was in here and they forgot those little spacers and thought, oh, those are not so important. What do you know? So please comment on this if you have exactly the same model, exactly the same power supply. Have you seen this problem before, and have you seen this bent bottom plate? So now I got this thing powered up. I dimmed the light a lot, otherwise we can't see what is on the screen. So I just powered the machine up, and it says a lot of clickety clickety clack. And then I put in the disk, and it's actually saying check disk drive. So all that is good. And then it's Apple control reset. Then it resets. And then what? Isn't it like that? Control. Just to figure out how to. It's Apple shift. Oh, here we go. And then I put in my disk, and it's booting from the disk, as you can hear, right? And look at that. I think it's normal with the cursor, right? I think that has something to do with my screen not being compatible with NTSC. See? There's a little bit of a problem with that. So I'm now going to try another screen and see if it's the same. That is not a lot better. I think it is more or less the same. So I think what you do is spreadsheet. So you say if you want to introduction. Okay, we can just hit 1 and then enter. Ooh, there's a real nice sound. Introduction. So there's definitely some graphic problems on that screen. Oy, oy, oy. That looks like graphic memory is not so good, right? Or power supply issues or something like that. So it's clearly not perfect. But well, it's a 40-year-old computer, so I'll have to see what I can do about this. And I've been trying to run through this word processor intro software, and it's guiding me through writing this and writing that and editing some text and figuring out what to do. And I think that I don't really have any graphic problems other than some interference on the video on some special lines that's causing the sync to be corrupted. So that's actually what is causing my picture to be distorted. As you can see here, it's actually possible to read everything and do all this stuff. But what you see here is some like sync distortions. So I think I'll take my scope and monitor the power supply. Maybe this is some sort of interference. That is a little bit weird. I was told this was supposed to be NTSC output, and as far as I know, that is 60 frames per second. But this one runs 50 hertz. How about that? I'm still hunting down this funny video interference. So what I've done here is connect the video to a scope and then select the trigger to video mode, and then I can go in sync in a special line. So that's actually 5 complete pictures, but let's zoom in. That is an entire picture, and look what you see here. Tiny little, see that? That little drip drop here is actually what is causing this flat screen to be confused about the sync. Let me zoom in a little bit more. See? You can actually see here it's a tiny little bump. Isn't that funny? This is the blinking cursor where it says hit return. So it's actually quite funny to see that. But other than that, it is super stable. The pictures, there's nothing wrong at all with this signal. See if I'm in here and then I dial around here, then I can go to different lines in the picture. And if I go all the way to 1, this is the frame sync or picture sync. It looks a lot different than all the lines. All this is perfectly fine. And it takes some lines and then the picture starts like that. And that's just all white, all black, all white, all black. There's no gray scales or anything like that involved. So I think there's nothing wrong with my computer. We got a lot of text. Haha, I finally figured out what was the problem with the picture quality. Look at that. All I did was I put a resistor in series with the video signal. I'm actually overdriving this type of flat screen, and that is causing the picture to be really bad. So I would expect now that I should be able to reboot and see the entire start up screen and program selection and everything like that. It should look nice and beautiful. See, there's still some funny graphic, but now that looks a lot better, right? Oh, I still got a little bit of funky stuff up here, but that is still the screen that is doing this stuff, I suppose. I'll try and play with some other resistors, I guess. Look at that. I changed the resistor to 100 ohm. Now it seems a lot better. Also, there's something to do with the resolution of this screen, so it's skipping some of the lines. This is a very low res screen, so you don't see the line here in Apple. So introduction, okay, let's hit 1 and then enter. Okay, and then again, oops, that can't be right. But maybe that has something to do with read errors or disk drive file errors or something like that. So what are we going to do here? Okay, press return. Oh, you can even see how it's updating. Well, this computer runs on 1 megahertz. It is that slow. 1 megahertz. Oh my god. Yeah, it looks a little bit like there's some graphic crap around here. I don't know if that is related to the computer, if there's something with my files or whatever. But anyway, I'm actually quite happy anyway. So I don't think I will put so much more into this video. Thank you very much for watching, and since you found this file, it's probably because you're also playing around with a nice old cool computer like this. And by the way, just to let you know, in some screens and in some modes, that one is a color burst. So that means, yes, we got color output on this NTSC composite video output. Isn't that just cool?